What are your thoughts on other Anitubers to the scene? Who were you watching before you got in, and who are you paying attention to right now?
I was actually pretty narrow-minded when I first got into it. I just knew like Giguk, and that was basically it. Like, and he was like the only like any tuber that I watched for a very long time. But you can also see like the influence I had from like his video editing style, which he doesn't edit; he gets someone else to edit it. But his video editing kind of influenced me on like how I wanted my videos to look like, because I thought his visual representation in combination with like the way he talks is very good. Like he, no, like I know there's a little bit of a controversy around Giguk lately, but despite what you think of him, despite what the videos he makes about, I admire his video creating skills, and that is something that already like if you are a competent video creator, you already like get plus 100 respect from me. Like that's already like the first thing. Of course, I eventually found out that he got into a podcast with two other Anitubers, CDoc VA and Joe the Anime Man. I'm not really that interested in what Joey the Anime Man does for his content, so I'm not really following. I am following CDoc mostly because I used to also be really into voice acting. So seeing what he does, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that, and now I don't do it anymore because I don't know. I don't have the time to like record voice acting things for other people. Other YouTubers that I follow, I mean, yeah, the big ones, the Mother's Basement, Super Eye Patch Wolf, of course. But I try to also get more into like smaller YouTubers lately. Like there's a guy called Augie who makes very interesting videos weekly. Also, like the one thing I admire about Augie is like the level of quality of the thumbnails. Like they look amazing. And
I'm
you
part
also
of
have,
his Discord. Sorry to interrupt you.
oh, sorry.
I'm a big fan of his too. I'm a part of his Discord, and even the
Oh,
way he engages with his community, he is a very interesting Anituber. He's definitely someone to keep your eye out for.
yeah, no, I haven't been in his Discord because I'm already into way too many Discords. So I like it would be like a courtesy join on my part, and then I don't talk, and then if maybe eventually when I get big and he does recognize me, then he's like, "Hey, you're in my Discord, but you never talk to me. Like, do we have beef or something?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't want to get into that." Like, like if he and I maybe ever get into like a discussion or something, like I'd love to like get into his Discord and maybe talk to him, but. Same with like other small NTUers. I just never know how to like approach any of them. Like I think the way you approach me with can I talk about how you approach me or how you approach people?
Please do. We're gonna go into
Yeah.
it anyway. So
Okay. So the way you approach me is like by virtual email, which very coincidentally, I recently opened my email notifications on my phone so that I can see when people email me. Because when I started doing Anitube, suddenly a lot of people emailed me about like stuff. But I think an email is way like in my mind, an email is way too like formal, and I'm not a formal type of guy. I just want to be like, "Hey, what's up, my dudes?" And I think Discord is way easier for that. But I also think it's very too presumptuous to go into like a Discord of like a YouTube and be like, "Hey, what's up, my dude? Also, I'm a YouTuber," and they were like, "Who the fuck is this dork?" So yeah, that's why I'm hesitant to also join like other YouTubers Discords. Coincidentally, one Discord I did join that was from YouTuber. Luckily that stuck around, but I try not to. Other YouTubers that I follow, Danny Ouija, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's Danny WG. Like he brings a lot of like enthusiasm to his editing, and he also has a very frequent upload schedule, which I'm kind of jealous of. But yeah, he's also like one of the ones that I'm like, yeah, we should pay attention to him because he is about to blow up any second now. And yeah, who else? I think yeah, a few that I know personally from like other like YouTube related Discord channels, but to be honest, I don't really watch their videos. I'm just subscribed to them out of courtesy. But yeah, I think those are like the biggest ones that I watch right now. I really care about like any tubers that put a lot of like effort into like their production. Like that's why I enjoy like CDoc VA, because even though he doesn't do a lot of editing, he does a lot of stuff off the cuff. His production value that he puts in his videos, and especially because he used to be a voice, oh, he's still a voice actor. Don't he's used. He puts a lot of effort and a lot of like time into the sound, the voice, and as someone who also gives a pretty much a damn about voice. I mean, look at this microphone, and this is my secondary microphone, not even the one I used for recording videos. I think that's something I can admire about him. So yeah.
I love when people can be so passionate about not only creating within their community but also communicating within their community. And like you, I do have some courtesy subscribes, but if you have Discord, I'm probably going to join your Discord to at least see how you engage with people. And if you have an open email, you better believe I'm going to email you. There are plenty of Anitubers who have emailed or joined their Discords to talk to them. And the reason why I have no qualms doing that is because, like, my day job, like, I'm a social media project manager, so I'm used to sending out emails to people. I'm used to going to the club and getting rejected 150 times. To me, I have no issue with approaching somebody, especially when it's to engage in conversation. But that's something I do feel with the anime community we need to improve on, because I can't help but feel that as much as we all love our hobby, we're getting to a point where as anime gets bigger, you need to look at ways to monetize it, or at least get a return on the time that you're putting into it, right? And for a lot of Anitubers, they want this to be their side hustle, or they're looking to create a portfolio out of their channel, and collaboration is a big part of that. Obviously with YouTube, I feel like a lot of Anitubers, they'll only choose to collaborate with a few of their select circle, and then that's really it. But you don't see that with many other YouTube communities outside of anime. They'll collaborate with as many people as possible, so long as it works with their content and it's someone who approached them well. So like you saying you opened up your email inbox so you can get notifications recently, I'm grateful for that, because I can have an open and interesting conversation with you and with other people who I've talked to with cosplay or with anime or manga or whatever, music. They say the same thing, that they want to establish more of an open field to be collaborative in a creative space. I'm not sure why Anitubers feel that they don't need to collaborate with anyone outside of their special six. And I'm hoping that changes going forward.
I don't really 100% agree with, like, I heard like of the Anitube clique, like you have of course like the top guys that mostly stick within their circles, but you also said like that doesn't happen really outside of anime, which isn't entirely true. Like you see a lot of like cliques in like a lot of like the American based YouTube, a lot of like, oh yeah, you know, those guys will always hang out with each other, you know, those guys will always hang out with those guys. I think the one country where a lot of like how do you say that, like inter niche collaboration happens is England. Like when I follow like a lot of like the English YouTubers, you get to see like the weirdest combinations, mostly because like the guys at the top, which are the sidemen, are very open to a lot of like the British YouTube community. That if you reach a certain point, then they will just be open to a lot of like the smaller ones. Like think of like Jackmate, who recently, I will say, like last year, he got one of the YouTubers that I used to talk to a lot. He gave them like a subscriber boost. He was like at 900 subscribers when Jackmate found him, and then Jackmate was like, "Hey, let me post on Twitter, let me post on my YouTube channel about this channel that I found that is cool." And now that guy has like 10,000 subscribers. So that's something that I found really interesting. And Jackmate also like talks with a lot of other people outside of his niche. Like I don't really know what his niche really is, but he talks to like Belle Delphine. He talks to like I said, the YouTuber that I talked to, but talks to other comedians. I think he also was the one that discovered like Bambino Becky. Like I think that's very interesting to see. Like, but when you look at American YouTube, you know that, oh yeah, Logan Paul will hang out with those guys. Oh, you know that I'm really going to show you the limited knowledge of my American YouTubers. No, I don't know anyone. Sorry.
That's fine. So I do agree with you, but I also feel like, okay, and let's just use Logan Paul as an example.
Hmm.
Logan Paul has a podcast called Impulsive,
Hmm.
and Impulsive is him bringing on other social media influencers, other musicians, other people who are doing cryptocurrency. He's bringing on anyone who has a online persona or brand that they're currently growing, and they're about to hit the moon, and he wants to expose them as much as possible to his fans and followers. Now, obviously, Logan Paul is an outlier. It's not fair to compare Anitubers to him because there's no Anituber that has as much as like his sidekicks have on social media when it comes
Yeah.
to following. But at the same time, I wonder how come we don't have something like that? Even before the pandemic, we never had someone who wanted to create a podcast where they brought on so many auxiliary people within the anime community. Even if they didn't create anime directly, they had something that they could bring to our circle. Trash Taste does that now. Obviously,
Yeah.
they're confined to Japan, and I like that. But when everything opens up, I want to see Anitubers who live within the same state going to faux shops or bubble tea places or conventions with each other and making content like that. I want to see a lot of things that aren't just, hey, I'm going to talk to you about whatever the kawaii waifu is this season. Like, stop talking to your camera all the time. I feel that we can get to that point where we elevate anime, we elevate the content creator space of anime more if we look at collaboration like what other fields are doing. But I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little bit pessimistic and hopeful with what this community can be.
I think you're mostly hopeful when I heard you talking, because I feel like, don't forget, and most like people that are into anime are also like not socially very inept. Like they like
Fair.
get like I'm not socially very good. Like if you like walked up to me on the street and be like, "Hey, do you want to do an interview?" I'll be shitting my pants 7 colors of the week. Like that's not gonna happen. Like it's because like there's a camera and the internet connection and a lot of distance between us that I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll be interviewing, and maybe if you be like, oh yeah, no, I'll be like in Amsterdam next week. Do you want to hang out? Don't be like, yeah, maybe. And I talked to you now for a pretty long time, so I kind of know you. But I think that's the biggest problem. Is also because anime community, like you said, is still a very small community. So how big is the chance that you find someone that lives within you, that has a YouTube channel, is capable of like going on with a YouTube channel? Because one of the biggest problems I have with like a lot of the small YouTube channels is when you're below a certain threshold, there's a big chance that they won't be making any videos next month. Like if like what I always see, like if I ever become big, I don't want to, and I of course want to help the small guys. But I also have to keep in mind that a lot of the small guys between the 0 subs and the 10,000 subs will probably not have a lot of endurance because they're still new to it. Like, I can't call out being like, hey, look at this guy with like 60 subscribers. He does a lot of great things. And then suddenly he gets like a subscriber boom, gets like, I don't know, 6,000 subscribers now. And then next week he doesn't make any videos because it was just like a side thing for him. I do feel like a lot of Anitubers are going out on the street. It's just like the problem is the ones that are going on the street are, of course, the big ones that can afford to go to like strange places for Anitube, like the Sidok VA, the Anime Man, the Aki Dearest, the Sid Snap, because they can afford to like pay a company saying like, hey, we're going to go to your company, we're going to film. And are you okay with that? And most of the time, when you as a person want to film a company, they'll be like, okay, you can come on a free day. It will cost you this much because we also need to have some people working there to go. And then you'll be like, yeah, sure, right. But if you're starting YouTube or even like a small, biggest YouTuber, like 100,000 subscribers, like you can't just do that just off the cuff. And there's also like a wall between like, when like I can meet up with an Anituber. Sure. Let's say I live near another Anituber. We can meet up. We can talk. We can like go on camera. At that point, it isn't Anitube anymore. It's just like two guys that happen to be into anime make a vlog. So then what's the point? Like Anitube is a very small space of like, I made a video about like what it takes to be an Anituber or like the survival guide of Anituber. where I had to do a lot of research, like what even is an Anituber at this point. And some people are already called an Anituber by making like 3 videos a year about anime. Like think of Penguin Zero or PewDiePie. Like they have talked about anime once or twice, and they sometimes are still included in like the anime community. So is that the direction we want Anituber to go? Do we rather want it to be about anime? I think Anitube can go into a better direction. Like just sitting in front of your microphone talking about anime is getting stale, but it's the one thing I'm actually good at. So please don't take that away from me. But it can go into different directions. What directions, I don't know. But I feel like once someone finds out the golden ticket for like the future of Anitubers, of course, we're going to get like 6,000 other people trying to emulate that. But right now, I don't know which direction we could go for. It's, for one, still to be Anitube, but for it to be different enough for it to be now. Like if you want people to have like collaborations outside of like, so I'm now going to talk about some anime, and I'm here with, Anime Lover 3000, and he's going to talk about something else related to what I'm talking about for like a paragraph, and then he's going to fuck off because that's how this video works. No, that's the limit of collaboration that we have now. Or we have the ones that, the Trash Taste boys do. It's like either you have a podcast, you invite each other being like, hey, let's do an anime opening quiz, which we can't monetize because even if you do one note of an anime opening, you get claimed. So yeah, like there are things we can do, but then it's like, I am having a lot of trouble like seeing like how are we going to do like real life collaborations with Anituber to still make it Anitube.